So Word's ribbon has a rich portfolio of options for how your document's text is going to appear on this page. And we're going to look at this area here, this group of tools font. Now, what we're doing here is we're editing it just on an individual basis and making changes. Remember, as we progress through these courses, you'll actually want to define styles within your document. So perhaps all the headings are the same style, all the body text is of a certain style. But nevertheless, in order to decide what styles you're going to do for that global change, we need to understand what we can do just at that macro level. So this is what this area is about. So first of all, I can highlight any text, and then I can come to here and I can choose what font I want to see. And what's the great thing is I have an area up here which is recently used fonts, so fonts that I've used in previous documents perhaps. And I've got this live preview, so as I choose different fonts, you can see that I can immediately see how the document is going to look. One of the things that stands out is this sort of font is very easy to be read, and yet other fonts you'll actually struggle to actually read. Perhaps this is a little bit more difficult to read. That's one of the key things you must decide is the font and the effect it's going to have on the readability of a document on the screen, but also when you print it out. On the Learning Portal, we discussed the difference between serif and sans serif. For example, a serif font actually has the little hooks at the end. So for example, I'm looking at this Times and I've got a little flick at the end. But then if I compare that perhaps to a Arial font, you can see that it is very readable and we don't have any of those little flicks at the end. And that's the difference between serif and sans serif. The serif is normally a lovely font, but the sans serif is normally a more readable font. One of my favorite fonts that's new to Word 2010 was the Calibri font. And this now is used in a lot of default documents. So I'm just going to keep it as that. Now, of course, I can change the size of a font very easily. And perhaps if I just want to change it up one level, I can just click on this button and it will grow the font, or I can shrink the font. I might want to highlight certain words. For example, if I want to highlight the name of a company, I can make it bold. I could just have it italic. I could underline that word. As well as underlining it, you can see if I click on this drop down, I've got actually different options of the type of underlines it is and also the color I'd like to apply. Now there are other ways to review documents. In fact, you can see there's a whole tab up here which we'll explore later. But if perhaps I want to just make a quick edit, what I could perhaps do is just strike through certain words. And that could be a very visible way of showing to someone what edit I have made. As I said, there's a whole topic on reviewing, and Word has some great tools we'll be exploring later on. I've got some equations here, so what I might want to do is I might want to apply the superscript, and I also might want to apply the subscript. The other thing I might want to do is perhaps change the way some of these words are shown in terms of capital letters. If I click up here, I've got the ability to make it sentence case. So the first letter is capital and all the others will not be. I've got the option to make it all lowercase. I can make it all uppercase. I could capitalize each word. Or I can toggle the case and toggle it back. And of course, remember, I can undo everything we've just done by coming up here and going all the way down to undo. I might want to highlight certain words. For example, here we go. I'm going to select this and I'm going to highlight it. Remember, this is a very cheap way rather than having an actual marker pen. And I can choose different colors to highlight different areas. But just also bear in mind when that's printed out, it might look great on the screen, but printed out, it might not be as good quality. Let's just undo that now. I might want to change the color of certain fonts. And here we go. I can perhaps make that word red. Another tool is here. we can format the text based on certain styles. And you can see that I have this word here providing that is just the cursor is on. And as I move around, it's changing the look and feel. These are some preset formatting, but they're all a combination of these down here: shadow, reflection, glows, and also outline. And in fact, if I hover over each of them, it tells me it's a gradient fill blue and accent 1. So it tells me specifically which of those styles it's applied. Very useful just to highlight an individual word. Again, you must also bear in mind how it looks on the screen and also how it's going to print out. There we go. And if at the end I want to clear any formatting, all I do is come up to here, press that button, and it will clear the formatting. So there you go. Just in this one group, you have a lot of power to change the font for specific words. But as I said, we're going to be exploring the styles later on and having it so that your document has a certain style maintained throughout the document and there's consistency. As usual, just give it a go.